Hello everybody, this is Deathsaurus, and for this special top 10 video of the year, that's pretty much exactly what this is, except this is one slightly different. This isn't any of the figures that have been released. This is my top 10 pickups that I've managed to collect or add to my collection over this past 12 months. So this has probably been the hardest top 10 for me to do, purely because down to you guys, I've been incredibly lucky to be able to find and source everything that I'm about to show you. To be honest, all of these figures that I've got, which I'm about to show you, and all of the ones more recently on this channel, you know, they are down to you guys. People, you know, they give me tips, or they give me hints, or they give me tip-offs. There's this for sale here, there's that for sale there, or I've got a friend who's got this, etc., etc. So it really is down to you, and a huge thanks, and of course to the guys who keep purchasing things from me on eBay. It's just a constant cycle of whatever money comes in from the older figures that I sell. They source the newer ones, which I get to add to my collection. So again, huge thank you to you guys. Hope you find this one interesting. And as well, I just want to say that if there's anything on here that you haven't seen, you might be new to the channel and you might be wondering what on earth them particular figures are. Every single one that I'm about to show you does have its own video, so you can watch that in full if you want to. So what I've done, same as the rest, I've got 5 other figures which aren't in the top 10, but they definitely needed a special mention. And I'm going to start off with this one. And the reason why they need a special mention is just because, again, they're just, well, special. So you'll see this. So this is just a Generation 1 Target Master Hot Rod. I say just a Generation 1. It's boxed, but it is a error box. So it says there that Firebolt transforms into Misfire's weapon, which of course he doesn't. Firebolt transforms into Hot Rod's weapon. Misfire was of course the Decepticon Target Master. So again, anybody who's new to this channel, you may not realise that I'm a bit of a, I have to use the word because it's true, a bit of a geek with regards to my what's the word I'm after, just variants and things like that. I like to hunt down and search for as many different variants as I can, and this is of course a variant, and it's a misprinted one, so it can be quite sourced, yeah, quite, what's the word I'm after, people can want it for that particular reason, to be honest. Right, so that was one of them. Next one is this is only one I've just done recently, to be fair. So this is the Japanese exclusive chase version of what was his name? It was Destron 6 Builder. So yes, this mold was used, and the colors were very similar in the Unicron trilogy. I think it was the Cybertron or the Energon toy line anyway, but this was the Japanese exclusive from the year before, with the much darker green, and of course with the purple, resembling much more like Devastator, even though of course it wasn't Devastator. But yeah, this was the reason why this is in the top 10, not in the top 10, is I suppose because it's slightly newer. But the reason why I picked it is because it is a chase, so you couldn't just buy this. You had to get, I suppose it was pot luck because they were blind bags, so you know, it was a 1 in whatever chance to get each individual limb, so I had to pop him in there for that particular reason. Then I've got a couple of primes coming up. One is the official tooth, well, I think it was tooth, what year was it? I can't remember, I've just forgotten. Anyhow, this is Jafcon Prime, or Jafcon Convoy, as he was known in Japan. And yes, it's a legitimate, it's not a knockoff, it's not a KO. It was from a Transformers convention in Japan, Jafcon, and this is a black Optimus Prime. Came with a black trailer, it's got the yellow eyes, it's all legit, it's all Takara, it's not a KO, and it's a very interesting figure. And as I say, it was a convention figure for the Japanese convention in the very early 2000s, if not the year 2000, to be honest. It's around about there, I can't remember. Again, correct me in the comments, but I know that in the actual main video I've got the date right. But this is Jafcon Prime, and I had to put him in for that reason. Right, another prime, bearing in mind these haven't even made the top 10 yet. This is Bape Prime. This is grey Bape Prime. So Bape is bathing ape, which is a Japanese, I suppose it's a toy, not a toy line, sorry, it's a clothing line. So these, I suppose you could realistically say these were the first crossover figures. So unlike, you know, your Jurassic Park ones and everything we get now, this is a genuine clothing line in Japan called Bathing Ape, and there were 3 versions. There's the ones last year I managed to pick up the red and the green. This year I managed to complete all 3 and get the grey Bape version as well. So again, full video of this on the channel. And then the final, and this is where I've not cheated, but I've got 3 figures purely because it comes in a pack of 3. So there's a couple of things coming up you're about to see that are all, there's more than one of, purely just because I've either purchased them all then like that, it was a legitimate pickup, or like these, these were the Dione Insecticons. Now, of course, for those of you who know anything, these are the ehobby versions of the Dione Insecticons. So again, before they were Insecticons released by Hasbro and Takara, they were Diaclone. I think they were Warudas, or however it was pronounced. And you can get an ehobby box set of all three of these. I think they're called the Insecticon clones by ehobby, but it's exactly the same molds. So it's your shrapnel, so it's your kickback. They've got different names though. And fingers crossed we get to see these decos in a Generation Select figures very, very soon. Right, that is the ones that nearly made the top 10. So let's go into the top 10. This was an incredibly cheap £40. That's just literally £40 in the UK from TF Nation. This is Omegatron, and I don't normally go for pre-transformers, even though I've just shown you some Diaclone coloured Insecticons, purely because the prices can be insane, and because it is another rabbit hole that I don't want to really go down too far. But I love the Omega Supreme mould, I love the Omega Supreme toy, and this was 40 quid, which is a ridiculous deal, and I couldn't turn it down. And again, anybody who saw my TF Nation video, this was one of my pickups from TF Nation this year. And once again, there is a full video on this guy if you want to see it. His name is Omegatron. He is number 10, and I'm just putting him back exactly where he goes. Right, number 9. This is another ehobby exclusive. So again, if you're new to the channel and you don't know what ehobby is is basically like a sister company to Takara, and they use the Takara molds, and they use them and they make the figures that we love to see, like a Megatron figure, but which is actually transforming into a gun. However, as you can see, this has brown on it. So this is the brown Megatron figure from ehobby, which is of course set to resemble the original micro change version of this figure before he came Megatron. So yep, I've got to be super careful with him because he's got GPS on the brown plastic. So this was number 9. It's a Megatron. It's got to go in the top 10. Megatrons are just brilliant. If you can pick up a Megatron, I think everybody loves them, and people like myself who were lucky enough to have the original G1 one as a toy as a kid have just got incredibly fond memories of them as well. So he's there. Okay, tiny little disclaimer, I'm going to say a word that's not the greatest nowadays, but I'm going to use it as his name because that was his name. His name, of course, was Slag, Generation 1 Slag, but this is the Canadian variant with the red face. So no prizes for guessing, only released in Canada. One of the first sort of versions of him, because they did, I'm not going to say corrected it, they did change it back to the version that we all know and love. So this has got the white legs and the red face, with the red fists as well. So this is the G1 first run Canadian edition of the Dinobot that we all know now as Slug, but I used his other name anyway. So this, again, I was really lucky to pick this up, thanks to Lynn, and thanks of course to the late Bryce Rutledge, who helped me with a load of these figures, to be honest. So it's a bit of sweet that I get to put these in the top 10, but there you go, he had to go in. Right, that's number 7, isn't it? It must be number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, that was number 8. Number 7 is Browning. Again, another figure that transforms into a gun. This is down to Neil Rockman, incredibly kind. He sold me his unused one, so I haven't put the stickers on because I just don't want to ruin it in case I put them on wrong or they start to peel. When you start collecting Japanese Generation 1 figures, you see some of the prices of some of the figures, or you just see some of the how scarce they are. And a lot of the figures, some of the ones I'm going to show you in a second, to be honest, I can honestly hold my hand up and just thought I'll never own them, and I'm all right with that. But then sometimes an opportunity comes along, and yeah, couldn't turn it down. So this is Browning, and again from Super God Master Force, 1988, Japanese exclusive. And again, can't believe I actually own him, to be honest. I would have loved to have put him up higher, but I managed to get a few other crazy things over the year, including this other one. In fact, quite a lot of these are from Neil Rockman. This is from Neil again. Now, I already had a Deathsaurus, or a Deathsaurus as I'm going to call him, but I didn't have a complete one. And obviously in anticipation for the new one, which is really delayed, we're not getting it until spring in the UK. I wanted one anyway, to be honest, but I definitely wanted one before I got the HasLab version so I could do a proper comparison with him. So I was lucky enough again to get this from Neil. He decided, he's got an amazing collection, by the way. And again, he's helped me out a load. He decided that he wasn't going to go down the Japanese rabbit hole, and he wanted to help me just tidy up a few of mine and sell me a couple of his to complete my collection. So this was one of them. Couldn't turn it down. It's such a great figure. It really is. And again, look at it. It's just, for an old figure, it just commands shelf presence and just looks so good. So he had to go there. Right, now we're into the top 5. And this is something that I've only literally just shown on the channel, and I didn't open it up, and that's because it's still sealed. So this is the 1992 Operation Combination Macroed, and I think it was Flarejet, but of course these were renamed, well, not renamed, they were named differently in the rest of the world. So, you know, I know him as Boss, etc. And it's just, I think it's the reason why these are so good is these are the birth of the Versus packs that of course moved on into Beast Wars figures, into loads of other different toy lines that they used, and even into right up now up to date. You know, they're reissuing the Beast Wars figures, but they're the Beast Wars Kingdom versions of the figures, but they're issuing them in Versus packs. So this is the birth of the Versus from 1992. So yep, just really pleased that I've got that as well. Right, next one. This one's one of Tim Banerjee's specials. He managed to find me this. He was the only other person I knew who had one of these, to be fair. So when he said I've got another one, I sort of thought he was joking. Because again, just thought, no way, you've not got one of these. So it is a Generation 1 Shockwave. Yes, it's boxed, which I suppose is rare enough as it is, but this is another geek out thing. This is the error box Shockwave, which again means that it's a first run, it's a first print, because there's an error on it, and it's missing the grey border from underneath there. So it was literally one of the very first Shockwaves that made it off the production line, and then they realized it's got an error on it, it's wrong, and then everything else after that was corrected. So if you check, I suppose, Shockwave boxes now, you'll notice there's a grey bit under there, whereas this part does not have it. And yeah, this was Tim Banerjee's find, and again, he let me pay in tiny little installments to get it paid off. So this is Generation 1 error box Shockwave. That is number 4, isn't it? That's number 4. Right, number 3 is a double, and that's only because I've now got 2 of them, and it would be rude to leave one of them out. Initially, it was going to be just the Starscream, the first release Starscream, with the no stamps, solid wings, and smaller pegs. Again, all the things, I've done a video on this. So this is basically a first release Starscream for the reasons which I've just said. If they make no sense to you, rather than me taking out the packaging, if you check out the video, if you check the Starscream no stamps, it's called first release Starscream no stamps. When these figures were all produced, they all did loads of different variants, and it was one of the first ones because of the things which I've just said with it. But of course, since I got the video on that, I've managed to get Skywarp as well. So these are both TM boxes, and they are first release variants of the Seeker Jets. Into the final 2. Now you can already see one of them there, and it is number 2. And this one again just appeared from nowhere this month, funnily enough. And this is a European, so it's got the multi-language on the top. You've got 4 languages on the box. It is a Generation 1 Megatron, but this one is a Hasbro test piece. It's got the test piece on the back. It is legitimately from an ex-Hasbro employee. I don't really know what to say about that, apart from the fact that I know that I'm very lucky to own this. It's something that, again, I couldn't turn down as soon as I saw it. Shouldn't be using eBay paying 3, but I did with PayPal to get it. I'm not going to fib, that's how I managed to get this. Just a great, I mean, again, it's G1 Megatron, couldn't turn it down, and especially not the fact that it is an actual Hasbro test piece. So you're probably thinking, what can top that? And to be fair, it should have been a joint number 1. But I just mentioned about when you start to collect Japanese figures, and some of them you just don't see. Some of them are just so incredibly scarce that exactly that, you don't see them, or when you do see them, they may appear on Chuck Lou's website, but then they just go. And this is the reason why this is number 1 is because I've sort of cheated. I've put all 4 together as one, because again, I did get all 4 in one go, although I introduced them to the channel weekly. And it is the 4 1987, oh, let me get the boxes, Takara Japanese exclusive cassette box. cassettes. So all of these in their own right are just ridiculous to find. I mean, they are so crazy. And I was lucky enough, again, thank you to Neil Rockman, to get all 4 of them. So we've got, they're literally all here, they're all boxed, and if you've not seen these before, as I say, they were 1987 Japanese Takara exclusives. But the best thing about these is they all combined as well. So I've got the combined modes of them there, and again, just you don't see these at all. I remember looking in that book thinking, I need these, searching eBay. Every 2 days I used to have a search where I'd search for these and something else, and I'd go worldwide and everything, and they just never turned up. They never turned up at all. So I just, resigned myself to the fact I'm never going to own these. And then lo and behold, good old Neil Rockman says, I'm selling my Japanese stuff. Do you want them? So huge thank you to him. But again, huge thank you to you lot, because the people that were purchasing the stuff from me from my eBay funded this. As I say, although I've got a few thousand subscribers now, which is great, and I love it, and it's really good, this doesn't feed my what's the word? Not the word. Everything I'm still buying, I'm using my own money to buy. All the support I get from you guys is amazing. Everybody of you watching these videos is amazing. I love it. I really appreciate it. But I still have to buy these figures, and it's just a great feeling to be able to have saved up or sold a few movie figures, and put all the money together to be able to purchase these and actually own these. So huge thank you to all of you guys for everything that you've done to help this channel grow over the last year, and to help me, complete the Japanese Generation 1 collection. So huge thank you to you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, and of course have a great festive period, and I'll see you soon.